and online I'm known as the ADHD Mama. Now, I have a regular adult job. Yes, first time in my life, thank you. That has nothing to do with ADHD, and I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm not going to be talking about first aid. We're going to be mainly talking about learning how to claim your space when you have not jumping over your voices. Start again. Learning to claim your space when you have an invisible disability. So, I'm trying to remember what's my next slide. I have the clicker. I have the power. Yes. So I'm the ADHD Mama. I have a Facebook page, a YouTube channel, Instagram, where I make funny videos to try to educate the world about ADHD. This is a complete side project. I don't do this for money. It is literally just a volunteer thing that I do because I could not find the right information. You see, I have ADHD and learning disabilities, and it's impacted every aspect of my life forever. And I spent most of my life trying to hide and act normal. And as you see, me already messing up my words, and then, oh, what's my next slide? I forgot that already. It leaks out everywhere, having ADHD. And maybe you don't have an invisible disability yourself, but maybe you know someone else. And there's not enough of us talking about this and actually letting ourselves be out there and saying, hey, I have this. So I want to try to explain what this means. Not yet. We're going to talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs very briefly. In order to get to a place where you can actually claim your space as a person, you need to be hanging out in the top two sections of this pyramid, having self-actualization and self-esteem. But where people that have barriers or learning disabilities or invisible disabilities usually get hung up is hanging out in that orange section of love and acceptance. And we keep getting bad messages throughout our entire life when you have a condition like this because it is invisible and we annoy people. It's the harmful truth though. So it is estimated that people that have ADHD or learning disabilities will get 20,000 more negative responses from people in authority by the time they're 12. So by the time they're my age, it's 55,000 more negative responses about who they are as a human. It's devastating. But okay, I can talk and try to explain it to you, but we're going to show you, and I'm going to ask my wonderful friend Wendy to come on the stage, and we're going to do a tiny skit. So, I'll take the blanket, and I'm going to take my marbles. We're going to go over here. The blanket is to try to catch the marbles so they don't go everywhere, because I don't want you to trip later. Da, da. All right, and I'm going to try to hold on to marbles. Ugh, that's a lot. I'm going to say something for now. This is a marble, Captain Obvious. So these marbles represent all the things we need to juggle as women. Are you busy? Yeah, some faces went up and down. If you have kids, a job, there's so many things that take up our mental space, and we have to juggle them in our lives. So that's our physical representation of what's going on. And so I'm going to be the person with ADHD, and Wendy is going to be the neurotypical. That means someone that does not have a condition like ADHD. Okay, Wendy, I'm already here. We're going to work on our project together. I just need to juggle some of these marbles.
Really? You know, they're like showing and feelings and ideas, and they're spilling out everywhere. Do you have to do that? Can't you put them away?
Put them away? Where should I put my marbles?
In a very nice bag. That's where I keep mine.
What do you
know that?
What do you mean a bag? Where did you get a bag?
I was born with it, and I hold 150 in here. I can do all kinds of things. Don't you have a bag? Why don't you have a bag? What's wrong with you?
I'm only juggling 50. I don't have a bag.
Really?
No. Okay, pretend that it's been a couple of weeks now. Oh, here. Can you? Too many marbles to do things. Okay, teamwork. So it's been a couple weeks now. I went to my doctor. I got diagnosed with ADHD, and the doctor gave me medication. Medication kind of looks like a baggie. My marbles are in one place for the first time. Yeah. But by the evening, that medication wears off, and I'm back to juggling everything. So I'm gonna try to be at work and actually work. I'm ready to work, Wendy.
Really? They're still able to see them all. I'm still seeing all your feelings, all your ideas. They might be contained somewhat, but they're still everywhere.
Yeah, but this is the best I can do.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Thank you for taking marbles. Yay! Now, that's a bit of a silly representation with marbles, but I'm going to tell you a story that actually happened within the past 2 years. So in my adult job, I teach first aid for a living. I love it. I've been teaching for 18 years, and I've actually seen how it can impact other people and make a difference. And so I've also known I've had ADHD my whole life, so I warned my students at the beginning of the class that I have this. And I'm teaching for an organization here in the city that I thought they would understand what that meant. When I said, hey, I have ADHD, I might forget things, or I might get distracted. So by the end of the day, I'm juggling my marbles and they are falling all over the place in real life. And the gentleman who needed paperwork, he's like, we need to go to the other side of the room, get that paperwork. So off we go walking. Someone stops us. So I stop and I answer the question. The man goes, God, can't you just walk and talk at the same time? I couldn't answer. Because no, I couldn't. I have a disability, but I didn't have the confidence in myself to be able to say, hey, look, that was rude. Stop. So let's just imagine for a moment, a slightly different scenario. What if I was in a wheelchair and he said, God, why can't you walk up those set of stairs? Ugh, that's uncomfortable. But that's basically what this man was saying to me. Invisible disabilities are uncomfortable for the person, and they can be uncomfortable for those around us. And it broke my heart having that experience. And I still see this man at networking events all the time, and I still don't have the confidence to tell him what he said to me and how it impacted. But that's part of the reason I'm here today. Not just to tell you that story, but to claim my space with a room of potentially neurotypicals to say, hey, yes, I'm a businesswoman in your community, and I have an invisible disability. So it's these type of messages, those 20,000 more negative messages, that make it very difficult. It's a barrier to being able to claim space. But when you have representation and actual people to see and feel and understand that you aren't alone, that orange section on the triangle, it becomes less difficult to get over. And then you can go on and beyond that and learn to claim your own space. Since then, I now have, again, I mentioned my adult job. I'm now the manager of first aid training for the commissioners of Nova Scotia. They made the job for me, tailored it to my unique needs. My learning disabilities deal with math and writing, so I don't actually write things, I dictate to my computer. And I get to help people, and they've seen the beautiful side of having these invisible disabilities. Instead of saying, God, she forgot again, or God, why can't you do this? To, hey Laura, you don't exist in a box. What do you think of this idea? It's been beautiful actually getting accepted for who I am in a real workplace, despite the fact I have those barriers. So I think I went faster than I expected. So I'm Laura, the ADHD Mama, and I'm here to claim my space. Yes.
If you could tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?
Oh, that's good. One thing that I could tell my younger self. You're actually smart. I'm not gonna cry. You see, growing up, ADHD, you were told, oh, you'll grow out of it. You'll be fine by the time you're 18. No, that's not how it works. You have this for life, and it's genetics. So I have a daughter that has it, 1 out of 2. And I truly thought I was stupid. I was very behind in school. I didn't actually learn to read until grade 7. I faked it till then. But I still managed eventually to learn to read, and I went to university, and I ran my own company. And you don't have to be defined by school's expectations that you can be smart and not be like everyone else. Yeah. Rainbow glasses and all. Okay, for questions.
I don't know if I'm gonna need a mic, I should be okay. As somebody with ADHD as well, hey. It's funny what you were saying about how it's genetic. I was just diagnosed actually in July with ADHD and with other stuff. And I was telling my mom, and she's like, oh, I think I have that too. And I was like, yeah, probably, because it's genetic. Anyway, I want to talk with you afterwards. That's
absolutely. And congratulations on your diagnosis. That's a huge deal. What I'm finding in the world, because I have followers from 47 different countries around the world, and so I do lives and I answer questions, just kind of like this, only there's people in front of me for once. Kind of cool. Usually women don't get diagnosed until they're in their 30s. So they spend their whole life thinking they could be depressed, but depression is one thing that ADHD can look like, or that they're stupid or lazy, or there's all kinds of negative things that can happen in your life if you don't get diagnosed. And then if a child gets diagnosed, they then now look at the parents. Because it is more hereditary than something like celiac disease. Any other questions?
So, I have a bit of a personal question. It may be a little personal for you.
That's okay.
I do have invisible barriers that I work with. It's not ADHD. Most of it is PTSD, but there are other things as well. What do you suggest for you in particular for your invisible illness that we can do, any of us can do, to help you feel better on a daily basis that you may not think of?
Oh, that's a good question. Because how can you help? Let's say a coworker, someone else. For my coworkers, I've had to explain to them, not all of them know I have ADHD. Yes, they probably will after today. That's funny. But I have a bad memory. Part of ADHD is having almost no short-term working memory. Long-term, brilliant, but I mean, you can tell me your name and I will forget it the moment you say it, and it just doesn't work that way. So having more compassion and understanding is one of the biggest steps. But there's so many things. If you just take the time to watch 1 or 2 videos about different conditions that you know coworkers have, it can make a big difference. I was out away for the weekend, and there was a woman, and I noticed that she would not look people in the eye when she spoke. And I had the opportunity, I was sitting down waiting to leave for the event, and she sat down next to me. And of course, I looked right at her. And she just started to freeze and get uncomfortable. So instead of asking, like, whoa, what's up with you? I looked not directly at her, but just in front of her. So that we were sitting next to each other and talking, like almost in a crisscross. And she was so comfortable. She was so interesting and dynamic, but I could see other people not giving her the chance because
they would see that as, oh, that's weird. Why aren't you looking at me? You're supposed to look people in the eye. That's rude. No, that's just everyone's slightly different. Any other questions? Not really. Sorry.
It's okay?
Yeah.
That's fine, thank you.
I just want to say, my husband, he did his PhD, he's professor, and he speaks four languages.
Wow.
But he always forgot things in the house, little things. And I'm the one always saying, oh my God, you forget again, you know.
Yes.
I just want to thank you. I really think that. That's really, thank you.
Thank you.